Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Crime in Trinidad and Tobago has become a serious concern. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 15th July 2022. Details when we return.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Former head of National Operations Center, Garvin Hira, believes Trinidad and Tobago is at breaking point with crime and criminality. He makes a statement during an interview at TV6's Morning Edition as he called for a provocative approach to national security. Here is more from TV6's Melissa Maynard.
Crime, chase, loss of life, fear, anger, hurt, they rest heavily on the hearts of many citizens. While authorities say they are working on combating criminal elements, security expert Gavin Hero says citizens continue to live in fear. He says that the assurance from the police and the reality experienced by the public are very different from one another.
And our law-abiding citizens are very concerned in the state of crime in country and areas that we thought that was not as crime was not as prevalent as it was before. We are seeing crime showing itself and criminality. There's a rise in crime. For instance, home invasions have increased and they have gotten a little more bold, a little more brazen, and more violent. And one needs to not only understand that, we'll put flashing blue lights or situate vehicles in certain areas. There needs to be a connect. And I think there's a disconnect, and I say this reservedly, but there's a disconnect, Fazir, between law enforcement and the citizenry.
Hero says that the re-implementation of comfort patrols can help law enforcement focus on high-risk areas. He highlights instances where members of the public are treated like criminals, which further widens the disconnect he sees playing out. He calls for authorities to move away from simply reacting to crime and to take proactive measures as gangs continue to take hold of some communities.
What would have driven Trinidad and Tobago to now always be seen as a gang culture? Where did that come from, and how did we not detect that? Now that the horse has bolted, we're trying to do that sort of reactive response. And one questions now, have we achieved our objective in addressing that? Because it seems like communities are being held at bay. You're almost in jail within your residence now.
Hero says contingency planning for national security can help avoid chaos when a situation occurs, particularly in the capital.
Research and development produces impacts of information that can be trends that can allow you to plan the process of national security operations, be it maritime, be it air, which is dormant, or land, interior, in a certain way where you are able to have predictive intelligence proactively for your operation, so that there's no need really for urgency, because you would have asked the what ifs and you would have instituted contingencies to keep things in a certain way, to contain it so it doesn't get to the we have now to react because of a crime or because a situation occurred that we never thought about.
Melissa Maynard, TV6 News.
Is the Prime Minister under investigation for his alleged role in the withdrawal of last merit list for Police Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago? According to opposition UNC, yes. But according to Acting Commissioner of Police MacDonald Jacob, that's not exactly the case. Renessa Cutting of TV6 News filed this report.
Is the Prime Minister under investigation for misbehavior in public office arising from the withdrawal of the former police commissioner's merit list? The UNC believes correspondence from the acting top cop, dated June 27, 2022, proves that this is the case.
Acting Commissioner of Police has confirmed that matter of Keith Rowley interfering with the Police Service Commission by somehow getting information to withdraw that merit list is before the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau.
But while pleased with this development, the UNC says the TTPS needs to widen the scope of its inquiries.
Because it is not Rowley alone. It is the former members of the Police Service Commission. Bliss, where's this Prasad? So the police has to investigate all of them. And they may need, brothers and sisters, the help of the English people too. If you need that for EMBDC, you should need it for this too.
But Acting Commissioner of Police McDonald Jacob says the UNC has misinterpreted his communication.
And for the BCIB to make a decision whether or not there is merit or demerit in launching an investigation. We get several such reports, so we need to analyze it first and then to conclude whether or not it warrants us to establish a team of persons to investigate. We want to give the persons who send the letter, Mr. Napkin, who send the letter, that when that exercise is completed, we will in fact inform him as our customer what further action will be taken, if any.
Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Over in St. Lucia, the leader of government there, Philip J. Pear, says his SLP administration is doing all within its power to lessen the impact of rising prices on the people of St. Lucia. Pear says his government remains open to suggestions from the public civic groups and the opposition on ways of cushioning the weight of imported inflation on the people. Stanley Lucian of HTS News Force reports.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who served in 3 previous administrations, provided his overall assessment of the social and economic situation that confronts St. Lucia. Pierre says simply, it has never been as bad.
There has never been a time, not even in the height of the COVID crisis, that being in government was so tough. Not even in the 2008, the subprime mortgage crisis, that being in government has been so tough.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister says the government of St. Lucia, like many governments the world over, faced with inflationary pressures not seen since the 70s, is largely powerless to impact the general increase in prices.
We are being affected by a war in Ukraine that has nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing. And added to that, we have the threat of climate change. That is the world that exists. That's the world that exists right now as we speak. And people in St. Lucia, behind their microphones, almost getting libelous, only because of the need for political gain.
Bemused and baffled by what he deems political mischief by some media commentators, Prime Minister Pierre extended an invitation to all, the opposition included, to present suggestions on the way forward. News Force sought the leader of the opposition's response to the Prime Minister's offer. According to Alan Chasney, he has in the recent past offered recommendations which were roundly ridiculed.
We gave him a 6-point plan. He laughed at it. He said it was a joke. So the fact is that this Prime Minister has shown no willingness to work with the opposition. In fact, he takes a mockery out of the opposition every opportunity that he has. And so I have zero confidence in any offer that he's making to solve the problem. He has a problem with tourism. He has a problem in agriculture. He has a problem in manufacturing. In fact, the entire economy is starting to collapse underneath him, and he has no solutions.
Prime Minister Pierre says his administration continues to explore creative ways to bring relief to the people of St. Lucia, despite the crushing impact of imported inflation and his critics' apparent disconnect with reality. Stanley Lucian for the HTS News Force.
Over in Jamaica, the government there announced plans to introduce paternity leave and extend maternity leave. We get the details from Television Jamaica.
Under Jamaica's Maternity Act, Workers can get up to 3 months maternity leave but will only get paid for 2 months. By September 30, the Finance Ministry will send out a circular outlining changes for public sector workers with newborns.
To increase maternity leave from 40 days to 3 calendar months. The government of Jamaica also intends to update the Public Service Staff Orders of 2004 to introduce paternity leave for the first time in the public service for fathers of newborns for a specific time and under specific terms to be finalized.
Those wishing to adopt a child will get family leave. The changes announced by the Finance Minister will form part of the Public Sector Compensation Review Program, which seeks to increase fairness and efficiency. General Secretary of the Jamaica Association of Local Government Officers, Helene Davis-White, said the unions made the proposal for the 3-month maternity leave. However,
this announcement is being made while the discussions are continuing around not only this issue, but all the issues that are contained in that compensation review. So I think it's a bit premature for the minister to be speaking to changes when we really don't have a heads of agreement as yet.
National Housing is looking to partner with a private company to boost its operations in Antigua and Barbuda. Prime Minister Gaston Brown made the announcement during the latest sitting of Parliament's lower house on Monday last. Jamie J. Roche of ABS News has that story.
ABLP administration reports it has built more than 1,000 homes since coming to power in 2014. Nonetheless, the government says it still has not met the local housing demand. For instance, Housing Minister, the Honourable Maria Brown, says National Housing's latest development, a 400-home project at Oliver's, is already oversubscribed.
Applications for that very site at Oliver's Estate exceeds 3,000 individuals.
Prime Minister Honourable Gaston Brown says the government's housing company is now exploring a partnership to shore up its resources.
We are currently in negotiations with an entity out of the United Kingdom. They were recommended to us by Ambassador Brian Stewart Young, in which we're now trying to negotiate, if not equity, maybe a combination of equity and loans, in which they can come in and partner with National Housing so that we can get perhaps an additional $50 million to further scale up the homes that we provide to the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
The Prime Minister calls it next level development, adding his government is committed and showing growth across all the country's sectors.
Ultimately, this administration that has been vilified by many will be absolved by its performance. History will absolve us as one of the best performing administrations this country has ever seen. And again, it's not by coincidence. This is because of the commitment of the members here.
Jamie J. Roche, ABS News.
Conveniently located in the Grand Ann Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grand Ann will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.